I rented a bed, and that room held 8 people in it. It was bunk beds. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, honestly, but if I could give you a tip, it would be to don't be skipping your feet, ladies and gentlemen, because some of y'all be coming out here with crusty feet too. So everybody, lotion is for everyone. Lipstick's on, outfit's on. I'm just wearing this little black capri jumpsuit. Hey guys, so we're starting off a little different. Hold on, let me turn my light on. There we are, that's a little better. We're starting off a little different. I'm here in my bathroom. I'm actually going to dinner tonight. We're not working. I work tomorrow, but I figured I'd start this today because our trip tomorrow is, well, we're starting a 3-day, and this trip I am gonna be the F1. So I'm in the front of the cabin. I'm the person that is greeting you when you walk on board and saying hello and all of that stuff. So I just have a little bit more responsibility. Excuse that, I'm wanting my sponge. We're gonna do our makeup, but I have a little bit more responsibility, so I don't get to talk as much as I do in between flights because I'm coordinating when boarding is, I'm talking to the pilots and passing on that information to the rest of the crew. So it's just a little bit more challenging to kind of come back in between the flights and talk to you. So that's what's in store for this trip. But I figured I'd show you some, just a little glimpse of what I do on my days off, which is, we're just starting right now. I figured, why not? I refreshed my flowers, freshened up my apartment, we packed our bag for today, meal prepped yesterday, we're good to go. So I figured I'd take you along. We're gonna do some dinner, we're gonna get some wine tonight. This is how I like to start or end the week. This is how I'm ending the weekend because we got a long week. I'm working 5 days this week, so one trip back to back. Anyway, I also thought I'd like to come and tell you guys just chat with you about some flight attendant stuff that I wish I knew before becoming a flight attendant. There's 3 things that I was thinking of while I was getting my hair done. And sorry, I'm looking for my makeup. Okay, we're gonna do MAC tonight. Yeah. Anyway, using MAC, this is my favorite, my go-to, my long-term. I remember I was buying this back when it was $26. Now it's like 40 something. Makeup is crazy expensive these days. Some going out there for $70. No baby, my everyday makeup, this Maybelline, so good. Anyway, some of the things that I wish I knew before becoming a flight attendant. The first one would definitely have to be saving money before, because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I don't know if most people who have it or dream about being a flight attendant, if it's something that you have thought about, researched, and kind of compared and contrast what, you know, how the money would be different from whatever job you're doing now. For me, I didn't. But I also was kind of like, I'm one of those people who didn't really dream about being a flight attendant. Like, it wasn't my end all be all. Like, I went to college to be a teacher. I did not think that, you know, being a flight attendant was definitely not something that I saw in my cards when I was growing up. It just wasn't something that I thought about. But here we are, and I love it. There's nothing that I can't picture myself doing anything else. But if in the beginning I would have known how much to save and maybe pay off or whatever the case may be, I definitely would have been in a better position in the beginning of my career. Right now, it's great. You know, like I said, I've been doing it for 9 years. It's definitely not a job that you're going to be a millionaire. Just in case you guys thought so. You're not going to be a millionaire. I mean, you could if you hit the lottery on top of it. But it's definitely something, if you enjoy traveling, you enjoy meeting new people, you enjoy, you know, just being out and about and exploring new places, this is definitely for you. And you can do that while having, you know, a family, which kind of goes into my second one, but we'll jump in that. But I wish that I knew to save a little bit more money when I started off. So this is some advice for those who are potentially thinking about being a flight attendant, and you want to know, you know, maybe a tip or two. That is something I would say. If you're going to do it, save your money, because some airlines, you're not even getting paid during your training, and training could be between 6 to 8 weeks. I believe for my company, when I went through training, it was only 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Now I believe it's, no, online it was 4 weeks. Now it's 6 weeks because of the amount of aircraft that we have now. But I think some airlines are 8 weeks. So with that being said, that's something I didn't know what I was getting myself into, honestly. But if I could give you a tip, it would be to save some money, kind of be on a budget, stay on your budget, know what you're going to be expected while you're away from, you know, your home or wherever the case may be, because you're going to need spending money. You're going to need money for, you know, odds and ends, things that you just don't know if you're going to, you know, leave at home. If you're away for so long, you're going to need some extra cash. And especially if you're going to an airline where they don't pay you during that time. Might sound crazy, but it's true. Some airlines do not pay you until after you graduate, because just like some other jobs, you know, training is, you know, based on you passing. For ours, we did get paid during training. It wasn't that much, but it was something. So again, check with whatever airline that you are applying to. And I know there was a bunch that hired last month in October, so I'm sure training will begin in January. So kind of have that. You have all the way up until the holidays. Start asking people for gift cards, those Visa gift cards, anything you can think of. Pay down your bills, whatever you have going on. If you're just starting, you're out of college, you know, think about your student loans and stuff, how you can kind of finagle those until you can, you know, start making more money through your first year of being a flight attendant. I like to set my makeup with another foundation, powder foundation. You don't have to do that, but I do. I know some people ask, how do I like make my makeup last all day? Well, you gotta set it. A little powder, a little pressed powder. And I have one for the MAC one, and I have one for my everyday use that I use for my Maybelline. So it doesn't matter. Get your cheap one. They don't have to be expensive. You do what you do. Anyway, my second tip that I would give would be to understand that you're not gonna make every important event anymore. You may make it, but you're not going to be available all of the time for friends, for family, for loved ones, significant others. And that's something that you have to actually think about before you even accept this position, because I can tell you what I missed in my first year. Actually, my best friend was pregnant at the time with her first baby, and we've been friends since middle school. And you know, I had gotten hired in May and her baby was due in August. So me thinking, yeah, I'll be there, you know, it's my first time being around a friend who was pregnant, and I didn't know what to expect. I'm thinking I'm gonna be there, yeah, she's giving birth, I'll be there after the baby comes and show up with flowers. No, I wasn't. I was actually, I still remember to this day, I was in Hartford, Connecticut at my hotel for 30 hours while my friend was giving birth. I missed it. Of course, I didn't meet the baby until after that 4-day trip. I met her, but I wasn't there. So, you know, and things like that, like I believe I also missed the baby shower. There were some important events that I missed. So that's something that you kind of have to think about when you are applying for this job, because you are on the go. You don't know where you might be, especially in the first couple of years if you're on reserve. Even when you have a line, if I can't hold the trips that I want on the days that I want, you might miss it. You might miss Halloween. You might miss your grandkids' first baseball game, or whatever the case may be. That's something that you're gonna have to understand and reflect on. What is important for you? Is this job, career, etc. important enough to miss those special opportunities? I mean, those special gatherings and events? Or do you want to really dive deep into this industry and give it your all and understand that there are some that you are going to make and then there are some that you're going to miss? And it's not all the time. It won't be forever. This isn't forever, just those first couple of years. I know there are some people who might miss out on weddings and stuff. Like, sorry, this is highlighter, just a little bit. Anyway, there's some people that might miss out on weddings and, you know, birthdays, even your own birthday. I mean, you could possibly be working or something like that, and especially if it's around like a holiday like mine. So I've never had to work on my birthday, I will say that, but you never know. So you have to really think if it's something that you're willing to give up, if it's worth it to you. And also understanding that there's people who've been in this industry for like 30 years. So they've put in their time and they've worked hard, and they know that they don't want to work on the weekend. So you might have somebody that's like, oh, I'm gonna miss my kid's first soccer game. And there's gonna be somebody who's been there for 20 years who's like, I'm not picking up your trip because I can't, I don't want to. They literally just don't want to work those days. And that's something that we have to understand. Seniority is everything. And you might have people that might help you out, but then you might have people that they won't. So with that being said, is it something that you can miss out on? Is it something that you want to miss out on? Can you miss out on it? Will you get the days off if you're in somebody's wedding? Think about that. Will you be in training? Can you push back your training? I don't know. I don't know how it was. I was able to, my training came up quick. I got hired, and when was that? Oh, I can't even remember. I may have gotten hired in April or something like that. March, I don't know, but my training wasn't until May. So there's that. Just putting a little bit of blush on, a little bit. Sometimes I have blush blindness. I don't care, I like it. And this one's always MAC. MAC is like my go-to, or either these Patrick Ta ones. It's so pigmented though. This is like a cream, and then this is the powder you're supposed to set it with. Baby, you only need a little bit. You don't need to set nothing with nothing, because it's so strong sometimes. And then I just buff it out. And you're probably like, why are you looking? The mirror's here. To my next one. Okay, another one that I would think of that comes to mind that I didn't would be my commuting experience and my commuting and where I lived for my first year. I lived here in Orlando, but I had a crash pad in Boston. So crash pad, if you don't know what that means, which is some of you may have to have one, or you're gonna rent an apartment with your, you know, classmates or whatever. It's a place that you stay when you're not really living there. I mean, some people live there, but when you're not living in that specific base, you kind of rent a bedroom or bed or something like that. So my crash pad, I rented a room. I mean, I rented a bed, and that room held 8 people in it. It was bunk beds. I stayed in it. I didn't even go away for college. Like I said, I was born and raised in Florida, raised in Orlando. I went to UCF. I never had that college experience. No bunk beds, didn't share a room. Me and my sister growing up had different rooms. Like, I don't know what that is until I started this job. So, with that being said, if you're starting out and you're getting a crash bed, just know that, what that would entail. That's also an extra expense that you may have to, you know, think about. Mine was back then $265. So $265 plus the rent that I was paying back home, plus all the bills, utilities, etc. Keep that in mind. That's something that you may have to pay for depending on where you're based. Luckily now I'm based here, only have my rent, etc. to pay for. But think of these things that come into play when you are wanting to be a flight attendant if you're not based where you are. That's also, if you decide to move to whatever base, well then of course you'll move there, your rent will be whatever it is. That's one thing. But if you decide to get a crash pad, just know that's an extra expense on top of whatever you're paying for back home. Now, my commuting experience, I commuted for 6 years. That takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of time from your life. I had to drive to the airport, then sit on the plane and fly 3 hours to Boston, there and back. So sometimes I'd have to leave the night before so that I could start a trip the next day, be gone for 4 days. Sometimes if I could make it home that same night of my trip ending, that would work. But if not, I have to stay the night in Boston and then fly back home another 3 hours and then be home. So sometimes that 4-day trip would turn into a 6-day trip or a 5-day trip because you're kind of giving up that time at the end. That's another thing to think about, is all the time that you're giving up that you're not getting paid for, is it something that's worth it for you? For me, it was, until it wasn't. And I was grateful that I was able to be based here in Orlando, but it did take a toll mentally, physically, emotionally. It is a lot. And I don't want to lie to you and say, oh, it's easy. It's not that easy. Sometimes if you're full, just like what's going on right now, we're just recovering from this government shutdown and they're still canceling flights. So that could play a role in if you're going to leave, at what time, or not leave at the 2 p.m. Now your 2 p.m. is canceled. Now you got to leave at the 10 a.m. So now you're giving up more time. Like, it was a lot. I'd have to wake up the night before to check in for my flight the next day. These are things to think about that you don't think about when you're seeing people on the plane. You're like, oh my God, I'd love to serve drinks. I'd love to travel. I'd love to do all of this. But you don't think about the ins and outs, the gritty details of how it is to really commute and how it is to, once you are in this job. So we're just spraying some finishing spray. Voila. Now we're gonna do the hair. I'm also trying this new heat protectant spray. I sprayed it already, but it's by Dry Bar and it's called the Hot Toddy Heat Protectant. I just wanted to find something that wasn't so oily. And you know, thank you guys also saying for the overwhelming compliments. Thank you so much on my hair. Usually I wear my hair curly. If you're new here, I am a naturally curly girl, and it's like silk press season, baby. So you have been seeing me have it out and straighten. It's easier to manage, there's less humidity, so I'm able to have my hair, you know, down and curly. But technically for work, I gotta have it up. So I don't like to wear it down too much, but you know, for service and everything, I put it up. But that's our secret. Anyway, also, so I'm saying thank you for that and all those compliments. I see them and I appreciate them, and yes, thank you. Anyway, what I also wanted to tell you, or somebody asked me on one of the videos too, is why can I show them, can I show you guys what and how I do service on the plane? Unfortunately, we can't share and show customers and once we're on the plane, privacy reasons and all of that stuff. I try not to show too many people, even my coworkers who know that I do YouTube and know that I make content. I try not to get them unless they're completely okay with it, because you know, not everybody wants to be seen on the internet, and I try to be respectful of everybody's privacy as well as mine, and just respect my company as well. I just, you know, all of those. I just try to follow the rules. So with that being said, that is why you don't see too much of what I do while I'm actually working, because I can't show you that. I'd love to show you guys how I serve the actual drinks, and I'd love to show you exactly how it runs in a day, like the questions I get asked, trust me, I would love to show you, but I can't, unfortunately, when it comes to on board and on service when there are customers present. So with that being said, you know, that's just answering that question. If you ever see my videos and you're like, oh, I'd love to see, or I want to see more, like, I can't show you but so much because of that kind of little hiccup there. You can't show that once you're on board. I can't even show you too much of like the details of our checks and stuff like that. It's just for security purposes as well. So I hope that you understand. Okay, now we're done. We're good. This is what it's gonna get, because because we're running short on time. Oh, I need my hairspray. Maybe we don't need hairspray tonight because that's not that hot. It's warm. It's back to being warm outside, but it's not that hot, but we're good. We're gonna put some lip gloss on. I'm gonna show you guys what I use for like my moisturizer, because we're gonna show a little skin tonight. Not too much skin, but just enough skin. Anyway, usually I like to use this one or this is my favorite. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys this before, but I use this for my face, well, not this one, but I use this particular brand for my face, body, everything. It's so good. It's so creamy. Look at that. It's called Glow Getter, and it literally leaves you like so let me put it on. Let me try it. Let me show you. Don't judge my nails. Also, I'm usually one of the girls who stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Okay, well, my best friend who also does my nails, she's a little under the weather, and she couldn't get me in. So after this trip, actually, we'll be getting our nails done. But look at that. Your décolleté. I love it on my décolleté. It's like so nice. It's so hydrated right there. Oh, it's so nice. It's just so creamy and it's thick. I love a cream. I love that versus a lotion. Yes, so good. So we're gonna use this all over. I have like 15 minutes before I have to leave my house to be on time, but I usually use this and like an oil depending on what I'm wearing. But I think I'm gonna wear like a jumpsuit that's a capris, so I'm gonna show a little leg but not too much leg, but my chest and my back will be out, so I'll have to put a little bit more lotion on those areas, and my feet, of course. Don't be skipping your feet, ladies and gentlemen, because some of y'all be coming out here with crusty feet too. So everybody, lotion is for everyone. It's rated E for everybody. Please put it on. Anyway, I'm gonna finish putting this on and I'll come back. Probably put the same color lip. I got a new lip gloss, but a new combo that we might try. So we might do that. Anyway, let me put that on. Let me find some earrings. We won't need a, what's it called? Necklace, because the outfit is gonna come up here, so we won't see anything. But we do need some earrings. I'll put a bracelet on, pick some heels, and then we'll be out of here. Also, I love this. If you need a good smelling deodorant, this one is so good. Not that many people are gonna smell your underarms, but hello. It's good for like going out. This is my favorite one for going out. Even though I feel like we're getting to know each other a little bit deeper outside of work, guys. So I actually do laser all over, and I don't grow hair, thankfully, there anymore. So now this is just, I don't feel like I have to really worry about odor when it comes to my underarms, because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I have forgotten to put deodorant on, and you guys know we wear polyester for work, so sometimes I have to, I'm not funky, I'll give you that. So laser was the best investment, but also this deodorant is really nice. It's not too expensive. Got it from Target, maybe, I don't know. All right, guys, we are all done. Lipstick's on, outfit's on. I'm just wearing this little black capri jumpsuit. I'll turn around. I know you can't see the full outfit. I have my heels on. I'll try and show you in my little mirror right there, but we have some food waiting for us, some wine waiting for us, and some good conversation waiting. So let's go. I'll talk to you guys when we get back. Sometimes I feel like my camera can be a little fickly when it comes to the lighting. So this is the outfit. I have my heels on. We're all ready to go. All black as per usual. Anyway, I'll see you guys when we get back home. We always have to have some type of clutch or purse to match, and it's just black everything. Glass shades because it's so a little sunny outside. I got my water bottle It's empty. I'll have to figure that out. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. This is the fragrance that I use. It's perfect for the winter time.